All right, I've got my circle cut out. I traced it, I cut it out. I'm going to now start to draw my city. So I'm going to put my vanishing point somewhere right in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And all of my lines of the side of my buildings are gonna lead to my vanishing point. So I'm gonna line it up with the ruler, and I'm gonna come draw a line out here. I'm not gonna go all the way to my vanishing point because I don't want my building to be so tall that I don't have any sky up here, because what's happening is we're looking up. It's like we're standing down on the streets of a city looking up at all these tall skyscrapers. So I wanna leave some area for sky up there. Okay, so I'm starting to draw the skyscrapers here. So I'm doing rectangles, and the way I will know that I have them correct for 1 point perspective is that they will be smaller near the middle of my circle and wider near the edge of my circle. That will show space. So things that are farther away, like taller or up into the sky, are smaller, and things that are closer to us standing on the ground are larger. So what I can do is I can just keep spinning my circle around and making different sized buildings. I can even do different shaped buildings. Maybe I want this one to look like it's kind of got some steps. Okay, but every time I need to line it up to the vanishing point. Okay, so all my sides. Now the roof doesn't line up. The roof is just a slight curve. Maybe this one will have a step coming this way. Maybe I'll have this one have a like an antenna off the top. Okay, so now it's just up to you. However you want to be making these buildings. Maybe some are short, like a house. Maybe some are tall. Maybe some are pointed, like a big triangle, a big pyramid. You could also have some overlapping each other. So that's what I'll do right here. Let's say I've got this tall one, but I'm going to make a shorter one in front of it. Something like this. Let's just erase that. So now I have one in front of one building. Okay, so I'm just working my way around the circle. Maybe this one's really wide building. Maybe this one is much skinnier. So every time I'm lining it up with the vanishing point. Oops, moving off the screen here. Actually, I'm gonna go this way. Okay, and then the last thing I wanna think about is adding details like windows, doors. You could even add some signs. Maybe you got like a fast food restaurant, a pizza parlor, I don't know, a bank, police station, whatever you want to draw, a fire station, whatever you think you would want in your city. Okay. All right, so I got it how I like it. Now I want to add some doors to my building. It's going to be the same way. I'm going to line it up to my vanishing point. But instead of going way up here, I'm going to come way down here because it's going to be much smaller. Lining it up. So there's a door. Maybe I'm going to repeat those same lines on the outside like a window. Okay, some of the skyscrapers can just have a bunch of lines. If you've ever seen buildings that you can't actually tell they're windows, they're just kind of lines. Lining it up with the vanishing point every time, so kind of like that. Maybe this one will have a large set of windows. So I'll draw 3 little lines that way, try and find the edge, line it up with the vanishing point, try and line these lines up, and then I can connect these. So these are bigger windows. Maybe this has windows, but only on the edge of the building, or like the side of the building. I don't know, you get to be creative. Like that. Maybe this one will have an antenna also. Okay, so I'm just working my way around. Leave that one empty. This one can have door. Okay, oops. Maybe this one will have 2 sets of windows up here. So they could be kind of curved windows or slanted windows. Okay. All right. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do before we can add color is Sharpie. I'm gonna add Sharpie to it. Let's see. Now I can use thick Sharpie or thin Sharpie. Let me grab one really quick. I could also use a combination of both. So maybe I want to outline my buildings with the thick Sharpie and do the windows with the thin. That could work. I could do it all thick or all thin. Just gonna untape a little bit. That's all right. If I need to, I could put a scrap paper underneath here. I'm gonna do that one in thin. Let's see how that looks. Final thing I want to do is, so I traced it. Now I want to erase it. Trace and erase to have all my pencil lines erased before I add my color. Okay, I'm going to use my big eraser. I can erase my vanishing point as well. Just to get rid of those pencil lines. Make it nice and neat for us to add our color. So trace and erase. Okay. All right, so a couple things I can do. Here's the one I made earlier. This one, I used color pencil, but I did it in a color wheel. Now you don't have to do it in the correct, location of colors on the color wheel. It's just an idea. So what we're gonna do on this one though is these may look like ordinary color pencils, but they're actually called watercolor pencils. So what we can do, let me grab my cool watercolor brush, is I can use this brush to turn these watercolors into, or these pencils into watercolor. So I'm gonna actually do the sky first. I'm gonna kind of do it this light blue. I'm just gonna shade in everywhere that's the sky. So that's all the negative space, the space around my buildings. So this is like coming down in between my buildings. And in order to not make my colors bleed together and mix together, because if we use watercolor, and it's all very wet, they can run or bleed together, the colors. I'm gonna kind of work with 1 or 2 colors at a time and kind of let it dry in between, because I don't want it to get muddy. Okay, and what I might do is actually add some dark blue in here too to kind of get maybe a deeper, darker sky towards the middle. I might actually make it nighttime or dark. So I've got a layer of that. Let's do a little light blue. Oh, that's light blue, or dark blue. Let's see how this mixes up. So I'm just using it like a normal color pencil. Okay, so here's the fun part. So this is it's called a reservoir brush. So it has an area for the water to be in it, the actual brush itself. So we don't need a water cup. So if I press right here lightly, some water will come out, and all I need to do is use it like a regular paintbrush. So I'm just gonna work on the sky first, because if I were to do my buildings and the sky, it would get, it might mix the colors up and get muddy, so I don't want that to happen. So kind of working on one color or one building, one area at a time. And you can see here that it's kind of turning to watercolor. And if I'm running out of water, just squeeze it gently. And some more water will come out. And now you may run out of water in your brush, that's okay. The top, the brush part comes off and we can add more water to it. So this is a cool way to paint without actually having paint. All right, so then what I would do after I get all this done, I would let it dry probably, and then come back in and do my buildings. Just depending on how much time we have left. We might have to do sky one day, building next day, or whatever works. And I like how I added the 2 colors there. So we're kind of making this new color. So feel free to add, like I could have added some purple, that would have been cool for even more of a dark nighttime sky, right? You could have done, or I could have done, or you can do a sunset. That would look really cool. Starting with maybe yellow down here between the buildings, going up to red or something, right? So lots of options you can do. Doesn't have to look just like mine. I want you to be creative on your own, coming up with your own ideas. All right, so I'm almost done here with the sky, and then I'm gonna let it dry and come back and do the buildings. Ooh, that was a lot of water. Oops, let's take it up here and move it around. So you don't want to press too hard because you don't really, a little bit of water goes a long way. All right. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. We'll let it dry and then we'll come back.